We'll see. I'm watching it, making sure it doesn't rotate too much, but it's getting there.
Just take your camera outside so we can all see.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Annie M, it's a twister. It's a twister.
Dad.
Is that a dog?
There we go.
I'm watching it, making sure it doesn't.
No, that was a cow that went by.
Hold on.
Check. Yeah, this camera is laggy-ish stuff. Whew. Almost said a bad word.
Stuff.
We are here, Wither Bucket.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's about half a second off. Or so am I. So, you know.
He asked you if there's tornadoes down there.
Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Friday Eve. You know what's funny about that statement, Brian? I'm retired, so I don't care. It's Friday.
Yeah.
I still care. I
care.
And the weird thing is there'll be days when I'll be like, what day is it? Get confused.
Cletus just said, bat signal received. Hey.
Meanwhile, in Gotham
go
City.
to fair. Happy Easter to you as well.
Oh,
hey, Paul.
That's his name's Paul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what he goes, that's what they have on the police report.
Okay. You know him. That's good. I used to keep seeing him, and it's awesome. All right. We ready to go? I am.
Yeah. Let's talk about Artemis 2.
Yeah. All right.
That Outlook went out in Artemis 2, and I'm like, it goes out for everyone, so why not them?
I saw that. Maybe we could, we got a lot to talk about. Maybe I'll mention that. All right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 415 of In Touch with iOS, the podcast that keeps you connected to the ever-changing Apple ecosystem. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. Each week, we break down the latest news, updates, tips, and hidden features across iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac, Vision Pro, and Apple TV. All with insights from family, friends, experts, and the Apple community. Because here we read the release notes so you don't have to. So I'm glad to be back here this week, and we got a little smaller panel this week, but it's always great to have everybody here. So let's start off with Jill McKinley. How you doing, Jill? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing just fine. I'm glad the week is coming to an end. Good. All good.
Good deal. And also here, Marty Jencius. Thank you for being here, Marty. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Coming off 2 days of fixing tech problems like firmware updates that go awry and stuff like that. It just, I'm so glad that things are working and soon I will not be.
There you go. Eric Bolden, great to have you here. How you doing, Eric?
Great. There's a little weather outside, and I am not out there, so
that's a good thing.
I've heard it's frightful.
It looks like you have a friend behind you there.
Yep. Today's bird is a white pelican.
I thought it was Swan Lake.
No, that's a big pelican, all right.
Okay.
With that big beak.
Yeah.
Also, I'm so glad he was able to make it tonight. Chuck Joyner, thanks for being here. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, I'm good, Dave. Good to be out of the car for a little while anyway. But funny thing, I saw you pre-show, we're talking about tornadoes and everything. I had a power blank that for no reason, there's no weather going on here, and everything was resetting, and I was trying to get online to come to the show, and it's like, come on, come back up. Come on, internet, you can do it. So, but I made it.
No, we must have had a power outage earlier here today because I got to my desk and my Mac was turned off, so something must have went off, but and there's nothing going on here, so. Last but certainly not least, Guy Serle. How you doing, Guy?
Speaking of big beaks, I'm doing fine.
Glad to have you here.
I'm doing fine. Thank you, sir.
Also glad we have here is everybody in the chat room. We got Witherbucket, we got Cletus, and we got a number of people out there watching already. So it's glad to see all of you here. So let's go ahead and jump right in here. So first thing we were going to talk about is Vision Pro, like we always do. This week in touch with the Vision Pro. Well, beta came out this week. We'll be talking about beta today. Vision OS 26.5 Beta 1 has released this week. There wasn't really much that came out on it that I see right now. There's really just the basics that what it installed. I didn't see much when I installed it. Marty, Eric, nothing there, right? The same kind of boring betas.
Yeah, there's really no visible UI change in it. The only thing that the Beta 1 brings is for developers who are looking at putting in subscriptions, ongoing subscriptions, or such. So it's affecting that part of the platform. Yeah. And so you wouldn't necessarily see anything.
Yeah, subscriptions that developers are trying to set up with Vision Pro. Yeah. So, Eric, anything on your end?
No, it was quiet, peaceful. No issues, no additions really.
Okay. Well, one fun thing we caught this week was you now can watch a full BBC Proms concert in immersive video with the Vision Pro. You can now watch a full BB Proms concert. It's featuring Luke Sternath performing the Grie's Piano Concerto in A minor, and it's through. It was at the Majestic Royal Albert Hall. So if you haven't been there before, do yourself a favor and open up the Apple TV app on for your device. Set aside 35 minutes to watch it. It is really cool. It features Austrian pianist Lucas Steinnath's performance and a piano concerto, and this is very cool. It was filmed at Royal Albert Hall. This is 2025 Proms season, and very cool. I'm not overly familiar with this. I was not able to catch it yet, but I know, Marty, I think you did you not?
Yeah, I know Eric did. I watched it and didn't get nauseous from being too close to people. That's kind of a trap that I have with Vision Pro and some of these immersive things. I was spending a lot of time trying to figure out, now I just came from this shot. Now I'm at a different shot. Where's the camera? Can I see the camera from the first shot placed somewhere in the background? Mm-hmm. So I was enjoying the music, but enjoying the puzzle.
Yeah. Did Eric, what was your experience?
Oh, it was awesome. Really, really nice. There are a few moments early on where the camera is following as they're walking down the hallway that just had a little too much motion, but it settled in once everybody was out on stage and sitting down. The camera angles were nice because they had one from the side of the keyboard so you could see all of the finger action. They had one from the other side of the piano so you could see his face as he's concentrating and playing. And I think there's a total of like 4 cameras altogether, maybe. Okay. So every once in a while you got a view from way above, kind of looking down at the whole stage, and you could see everybody. So it was kind of nice. There are times when I wished I could just sit at one spot and then not bounce around. But I really enjoyed being able to see from lots of different views, and the music was very good.
Great to hear. Well, we continue to get some great immersive video. I'm glad to see it accelerating, and not just Apple's content. We're seeing others do it. So let's hope for more this year, because I absolutely love watching that. I think the three of us always are watching those videos like right when they come out, when I'm not busy, of course.
Are they?
Yeah, I want to see more from.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marty.
I was going to say I want to see more from the Artemis 2. Apparently, I missed it. Apparently, you were able to live stream the takeoff, or the takeoff, and for Apple Vision Pro folks, you got an immersive view of it, and they're doing all the immersive recording on it, and hopefully that will hit soon.
Yeah, they were streaming it on, I think, YouTube. NASA was, and then of course all the news networks were streaming it, or broadcasting it, I guess you would call it. But there was a funny story we brought up pre-show. I'll bring it up real quick. I guess that they have their computers up in Artemis 2, and one of the astronauts had their laptop open on, of course, Windows, and it was Outlook, and Outlook wouldn't open up their email. I love it. and it showed up on the, I think it was on a Twitter feed or an X, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was kind of funny to see that, right, guys?
I told my team, I said, it happens to us every day. Why not them?
Sure. You know, just because you're in space doesn't mean you don't have to experience those things.
Yeah, but they could have saved millions of dollars and just
meals.
had their Outlook crash here on Earth. They didn't have to go to space to have it crash.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they release the video of, and we'll talk about this later, I think, Paul McCartney's concert.
Yeah, I hope so too. I kind of, well, we'll talk.
As long as Outlook isn't running the boosters.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
Anything Microsoft.
They use Excel for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. Oh.
And don't say Teams. All right, moving on.
No,
SharePoint.
It's Access. It's all in Access. Yeah.
Microsoft Access. There you go. Oh my gosh, we're getting nightmares as we go here. All right, let's move on to some of the to beta this week. But before we talk about beta, there was they are now updating the older devices. I'm starting to notice that's a little more. Apple has issued a rare iOS 18 security update to protect against the dark sword exploit. This was yesterday's record. It's 18.7.7 and iPad OS 18.7.7. There presumably is a fix for that exploit. It was Apple did tell Wired magazine that they would release these updates for more devices, allowing users with the auto update turned off or on to receive this security update. It was initially limited to just the 10s and the 10R models, but now it's available for all the other iPhones. And they're doing it because people are deciding not to upgrade just yet. There's still probably a fair amount of people still on 18. That's fine. But people running 26 were already protected with that vulnerability, which tells you that you should be updated to the latest and greatest OS once it's been out for a while. So that's a PSA. If you are running that, make sure you check that out and take care of it. So let's go on to the beta this week. Apple did seed the first betas of iOS 26.5 as well as iPad OS 26.5 to developers. And today, this was released on Monday this week, and they all got it. And everybody was all excited, waiting for some Apple Intelligence S-Lady features, but not to be. What a surprise! But they don't know any features that are being added yet, so it's kind of a crapshoot. It's kind of the way I would say it. That what we're going to get, we're not going to get. So, we'll see what happens here as far as that goes. They also released Watch OS 26.5, TV OS 26.5. We already talked about Vision OS, and again, nothing we know that was released here. So, nothing really worth mentioning here. But what is new in 26.5 beta 1? Let me pull this up here. You got suggested places in the Maps app that recommends locations to visit based on your trending places nearby and recent searches. This will be, and that all, by the way, Apple, when launches, it has ads in Maps and also will show these ads. So we cannot avoid ads anymore. They plan to implement this in the summer with businesses able to purchase ads that are shown in search results and in suggested places. So you have that as well. So they continue to, they re-enabled RCS for messages end-to-end encryption, and it's going to be iPhone and Android users in 26.5. They tested the feature in 26.4, but didn't include the E2EE in the final version, so we'll have that on. Of course, got some more EU third-party wearable changes. I'm not going to go through all this, but you've got a lot of stuff here like proximity pairing, notifications, and live activities. Now they have Magic accessories. When you connect an accessory like a Magic Keyboard to an iPhone over USB-C, the iPhone will automatically establish a Bluetooth connection with the accessory. That's new. That's interesting. And of course, they were already been testing the iPhone to Android transfer. And there's some stuff with Apple Books and the keyboard layout. So some exciting things to look forward to. But that's interesting about the Magic Keyboard. I've never thought to use a keyboard on my iPhone. Have you guys? we're also, have you talked, you've used a keyboard, an external keyboard?
Yeah, actually, Dave, I bought one of the little portable Bluetooth keyboards that folds up. And in certain cramped airline situations,
That's true,
where you just cannot open, much of anything, you can lay your iPhone down, open up this little keyboard and keep it underneath the tray on your lap and type away. And it works great. Now, you're not going to do anything sophisticated with it, but if you just want to do like raw data entry, coming out of your head, writing up a report or something that you're going to edit later, it works great. So don't discount it as an option.
Okay. For iPhone, I hadn't thought about that, but what about everybody else here about the iPhone using a keyboard with
it was the first accessory I bought for my iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Many generations ago, similar to what Chuck is saying. It was kind of a platform, and it was mainly portrait mode that you could do the work in at least the device that I had. It was a nice foldable keyboard, and of course I didn't use airline Wi-Fi or anything like that. I just went in and wrote some notes and wrote some ideas.
Yeah. Anybody else? Guy, you've been using? I didn't think I didn't think I was alone. I didn't think I was alone with that. So.
Yeah, it's just for me, the iPhone just isn't big enough to try to do some serious work on.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you can't, and that that there's not a lot of people who do. It just for me is for various reasons it just doesn't work out that well.
I have to say, if I have to type in like a Wi-Fi password, sometimes it's easier with a keyboard.
Yeah. So, Wither Bucket just put something in our chat here that given how some of the iPhone keyboards work, maybe I should try one. That's there you go. Then you learned something today, right? So check it out with that. So, but let's go ahead and move on to In Touch with Mac this week. Well, of course, we have beta for the Mac OS. That's the first Mac OS Tahoe 26.5 beta is available for developers. And it just comes 6 days after it launched 26.4. So it was pretty quick that the beta transitioned from 4 to 5. So we know the whole process, and you got to have a developer account, but there are free developer accounts if you if you so wish. Again, we thought Apple Intelligence and the S Lady, nope, ain't happening. So there really isn't much else there. But this is just for developers right now. The public beta, as this recording, has not been released just yet. So we'll see what happens there. So
are there new emojis?
No, that came out in 26.4. So we can live without any new emojis for a while. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience. I've had I've got a couple Macs that I've just gotten recently, as many know here. So I'm setting up my MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, and MacBook Neo, and I did a dumb thing, and I used the Time Machine backup I had out of my Mac Mini, and boy, was it a mess. It just did not restore it right. I use this application called Mist that allows you to be able to download the Mac OS installers and put them on a
USB stick
to boot up, which is absolutely amazing. And that is really cool. It's a real cool app. I'll put a link in the show notes about that as I think about it. So it messed that app up. I just could not get it to work. There was some security issue, wouldn't allow it to do it. So what I did was I actually I just wiped it, and I went and started over. And in this case, I didn't have to do that, but I've been going through so much of it lately at work by having to erase Macs and reinstall because I'm doing some testing. That's where it's got that in my head here. But most of the time, as most people know, we use the erase content settings feature, which is awesome. In most cases, it works very nicely without having to go through all that rigmarole of doing a really truly clean install. But it really does clean it pretty well. So I went through and did that. But I kept forgetting because last year Apple made a change where it allows you, you know, how normally we were able, like you do an iPhone, you have iPhone to iPhone, you can set up, or iPad to iPad. Well, now what you can do is you can set it up with your iPhone to bring over the account settings and any apps that the iPhone may have that's similar for the iMac right away. So let me bring up this. This is this support article here from Apple. The setup assistant does this, and here it is here, which is really cool. And I think I don't know if anybody's gone through this before, and that's what you're going to see setting up your, in this case, MacBook Air. And you are able to go through the transfer of your data here. It's showing on the screen. Set it up as an iPhone, set up with an iPhone or an iPad. We were always used to doing it, you know, go from Time Machine, set it up from a Mac, another Mac, and not from a Windows machine, or just set up as clean, set up as new. So, you know, going through the quickly setup process, and the same thing with like you do on an iPhone. You scan the little blob there and get it going, and it goes through all the rest of the steps. So I don't know if anybody knew everybody knew about this, but it is very cool to be able to do this. Has anybody besides me gone through this process setting up a Mac?
I have not seen this before.
Yeah, it's really cool. I kind of forgot about it. I knew they announced it, but I just didn't remember this until I've been setting up a lot of Macs lately. So it's a great thing. Anybody else have they gone through this process using the iPhone to set up your Mac? Nobody?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. We'll have a link in the show notes of how to do it. Because I guess most of us do restore from backup from when they have their Time Machine, but there's times you want to do a clean install. This truly is a clean install because it's just bringing over your Mac, your Apple ID and account, and it sets it up automatically, which is a beautiful thing. Having to sign in, it's already a pain doing a nuke and pave as it is, but it definitely is something good here. So, but we got some people in the chat here, and hey, Webb Bixby, he's crazy and he's watching us on a cruise. So good deal to be there. And he's just leaving as I chat about this. There's a big Broadway production about to begin, so go enjoy. Well, thanks for stopping over as you're on your vacation here. So, that is it as far as that goes. One other thing I wanted to mention: there was a problem with the Mac, the 16-inch MacBook Pro charger has a compatibility issue. I've never heard this before for the power charger. It's the 140-watt USB-C power adapter that's included with 16-inch MacBook Pro models with the M5 Pro or Max chip. It has an issue for some people. After the 16-inch MacBook Pro was updated last month, customers in some countries were beginning to notice that the adapter has a subtle design change that breaks compatibility with Apple's power adapter extension cable. Oh, because some people are still using that extension cable for all these years, and specifically while the charger continues to have a removable plug, Apple apparently tweaked the design of the underlying male connector with 2 pins, and the connector now has a slimmer pill-like shape, whereas it's previously had modified like a C7 design. Due to this change, the charger design to match the previous plug connector doesn't work. And this shows a picture here. As you can see right here, yeah, so it doesn't have that notch. It has a notch, and then the old ones did not. So if you have that plug, and you might have a trouble getting it to connect there. So just another PSA on this. Apple's already discontinued the World Travel adapter, so it's incompatible with their new adapters as well. So, but this design honestly was it looks like it was spotted in Australia and China, so I'm not sure if we're seeing this in the U.S. But PSA, no, that is a problem. Kind of strange. All right, so let's move on to the topic of the week. So talk about the topic of the week this week, and as we record yesterday, April 1st, 1976, 50 years ago, it's Apple's 50th birthday. And there's been all kinds of celebrations. We'll go through some of the things that happened on Apple's campus last night as we record, as well as some of the things just to talk about and kind of reminisce and talk a little bit about what was going on here. So a lot of things that we can talk about, and you can go through some of the history, and we can kind of have a little bit of fun here. So you had the, starting in the 70s, we had the Apple II. Then you went into the 80s, and then you had the Macintosh. Then in the 90s, they lost their way, and we almost lost Apple in 1996. Until that dreaded day at Macworld Boston, when you had Bill Gates up on the screen saying Microsoft was bailing him out, giving him money to invest with Microsoft Office for the Mac, so they would bring it back to get him going. Then, of course, remember back in the 90s and 2000s, beginning 2000s, they came out with that iMac with the cool colors, and I believe that was with the G3 at the time. Then it progressed on. The iPod. You can't forget about the iPod. That was another thing that I got excited about, and I wasn't even an Mac user yet when the iPod came out. So I didn't buy the iPod the first generation. I think I got the second, if I'm second or third. But so as we've gone through those parts, what was the most memorable for of the folks on the panel here? What you liked? We start with the Apple II. The Apple II was probably one of the most popular personal computers out there of its time. I had it in high school. I was using it. I sadly went in the wrong direction for my career and I should have stayed with computers because I would have been using it a lot more. But I remember doing those just writing those basic programs, and I was having a ball. And some of those. We would copy the games and stuff on those 5 1/4 inch floppy disks, and I had my old box of the computer. So we'd go into the lab and plug them into the disk drive, because I didn't have a computer at the time at home, so I would have to play it at the school and then do it in high school. So I'll start with you, Chuck. What did you have any experience with the Apple II?
Oh yeah, I had an Apple II Plus, and I had an Apple IIc and a 2GS, and sort of the whole way up through.
Yeah.
Never did get the Apple Portable as much as I wanted it because it was just way out of the price range.
And price,
yeah. But the thing is, it was portable. You could take it with you. But packing up an Apple II. An old Apple II, the Apple II meant you also had to take the monitor.
Yeah.
You had to take all the, everything along with it.
Right.
Disk drives. I mean, if you look at it now, you think, why did I ever do that? Because I did do that for a while. I would take it on trips, and because that's what you did. That's what you had to do. So
yeah.
The IIc was obviously a lot more compact, all in one. I used that for a long time. In fact, I had one. I took one to my office. Nobody else had a computer on the desk, but I had an Apple IIc and the little monitor that looked like ET. And everybody thought I was strange, and so.
Anybody else?
And they were right.
The only thing about the Apple II that I remember. Was a friend of mine had one, and I watched him play some flight simulator. I don't know if it was Microsoft, but it was all dark screen with green framed buildings and stuff like that. He says, "I'm going to fly between these buildings," and it was like, It was like, okay, well, that's really cool. No, I actually didn't. Oh, my first computer was a Mac. It was the Mac Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But I never did get an Apple II.
Okay. Anybody else want anything? I'll just mention Winter Bucket says he had those colorful Macs in middle school, as well as he said his first Apple product was the Apple II in elementary school, and played all those classic games like Oregon Trail and Number Munchers. I play this game called Rusky Duck. That one always sticks in my mind. I don't know if everybody remembers that. Cranston Manor was another one.
Crystal Quest?
Yeah. So.
What? I was in the dorms, and I was known as the girl who owned a computer, because there were 3 computers in my dorm. 2 of them were guys, and I was the girl who owned a computer, and I had an Apple IIc with the thermal printer and a disk drive, and I started a business where I would type people's papers, but if you gave me $5, I would give it to you back on disk.
Ooh.
And then if you had changes you needed to make for the paper, I wouldn't have to type the whole thing back in again. I would just be able to fix those letters and reprint it for you for
a fee.
less money. And I made a fortune off of my typing business.
So I know, Marty, you and I are very much alike, because we didn't get into Apple and Mac until the the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So
my first Apple product was a quick take camera.
Oh my gosh!
Back in,
Wow.
and I still have it. Somebody at the last university I worked at loaned it to me, and I think the statute of limitations is up on that.
Right. Yeah.
And then the first a PowerBook was the first
Me too.
Apple computer that I got to use, and that was loaned to me by the university, and I still have that somewhere in the house. And the first one I bought was the Black Mac back in 2006, 2007.
The MacBook, first Intel processor when they moved to Intel.
Yeah.
I had the white one. So anybody have the first Mac, the Macintosh from 1984? Anybody have that?
My brother-in-law had a Lisa.
Oh boy.
One
of the very few
drives. And my niece and I somehow managed to wipe out his word processor.
Whoops.
And I think it wasn't me. I think she was like messing around and wanted to save something, and it like wiped one of the application floppies, or, they were floppies. No, they weren't. They were the 400K 3.5 inch, as I recall.
Yeah.
But one of them had the word processing program, and it was just wiped to save whatever silly little thing she had done.
Right. Yep.
He wasn't happy.
Anybody else in that era of Macs and up to the Macs you have now?
I have one more Apple II story. So
please.
The high school I was in bought I think they started with Apple II Pluses, and they couldn't afford to get enough for a full class. So there was a company that did clone machines. So they had the Franklin Ace 1000s, I think they were, to kind of fill in the blanks. And they eventually they expanded, added Apple IIe's, and actually had a 5 gigabyte hard drive that was supposed to be a whole classroom thing. But they didn't have software, and they were using space that used to be keyboarding class. So the typewriters all got moved out, the computers all got moved in, but they still needed to teach keyboarding. So they just flipped on all of the machines, had everybody sit down and said, ignore the beeping as you're typing, and when you hit return, ignore the fact that stuff spews across. Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah. So a lot of pretty amazing history up to where we are today. What brought me over the edge was I was on the cusp of the G4. I had the PowerBook G4, the 12-inch laptop. And then 2006 came around, and Intel came to the Mac for the very first time, and I didn't go back after that. So I'm a little behind on some of you guys of the years of Apple of the 50 years. I missed a fun time of it. I wish I would have missed that, but hey, I'm making up for it for all the things we've done for the last many years.
Did anybody else have a clone?
No, but I remember selling them. When I worked at Service Merchandise, of all the places, that they had very minimal choices of any computers at their store, and they had that clone. I played around with it. I forgot the name of it. It was one of those really bad, almost like it looked like I don't remember, but it was those clones were garbage.
Is it one of the power computing ones?
It might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a UMax C600, which was a 603E that I eventually updated to a dual G4. Was like big deal back then, but it was a great computer. I mean, I don't know what everybody else's experiences were with the clones, but I used mine all the way up through System 9. I couldn't put OS 10 on it, but for a System 9, it was great.
I will speak for Jeff since he's not here, because he's mentioned a number of times that I believe he had one of the Franklin clones.
He did,
and so the clones served a purpose. Did they cannibalize Apple sales? Well, that can be debated, because it put an Apple experience into the hands of people that maybe couldn't afford a real Apple. at the time. So, you 6 to 1, half dozen or another. But
Yeah.
I know he's one that got his one of his starts with an Apple clone.
Yep. So
And you all got ceased and desisted upon, right? On the clones that got stopped, right?
Yeah. The last official release for the clones was 7.7.
Yeah.
But
Apple,
it worked with 8 and it worked with 9. At least mine did.
As the Apple shut them down, don't want those out there anymore. So let's, as we talk here, let's go a little more. When we got into the 2000s, I think one of the big turning points for Apple was the iPod. The iPod was a revolutionary product. It was introduced October 23rd, 2001. That was then when and Steve Jobs is in a little meeting room with some of the press and pulls out of his pocket. Look at this, 1,000 songs in your pocket, and all the great ads they had for it with the spinning dial and the mechanical button in the middle, and it was one of the most amazing things in the world. But the funny thing was, if I remember correctly, and I know I'm right with this, it was FireWire, which was, of course, that was Apple's more or less proprietary connector, as well as there was no music program to manage it with. You can only do it on a Mac. You couldn't do it on a PC. They hadn't introduced iTunes just yet. There was a way to just get music onto it until iTunes finally came out shortly after it was released. But they went like at least 3-4 years before they finally, Steve Jobs gives in and says, yeah, I guess we have to open it up to those pesty Windows users. And it progressed. You went from the FireWire to the 30-pin connector, and that's where it stayed until it retired. I think it was in the around the early 2010s is when when it finally had disappeared. I have one of those, the original iPods still. And I actually had given it as a gift to my father-in-law, which was not a techie person. So I set it up, I found it, I thought it was pretty cool. He'd probably like it. And I knew he wouldn't put anything on it once I put all his songs on it. So because of the FireWire, because it was quite an adventure to get that hooked up. So, but it's a great one. I still have a few iPods still in my collection here, not that are still they all work as of today, which is great. So
yeah, I've got a Nano here somewhere.
Yeah, the Nano. You had the iPod Touch. There's the iPod Shuffle. The first one was the square, and then you had the little one.
Yeah.
I still have the one, I think, somewhere that looked like a piece of Trident gum. The little small one.
Yeah.
And the original one, which was the long, like a pack of gum size. It was a pretty powerful little device, and you've got the only bad thing was you didn't know what songs were on that. You just had to plug it in and listen. You knew what you put on it, but then you kind of forget. And then, unlike what you had to display, which give you some great things with touch controls, and it was pretty amazing. So, anybody else have stories about their iPods? I have to make sure I enunciate iPod because I'm so used to saying iPad and iPhone and Cletus just said he had an 80 gig iPod. I think I had the 160 gig. That was
I
the big
desperately wanted one.
I had 160 gig.
Yeah, I might still have it.
I was gonna do the watch thing with, I think the Nano, was it?
Oh,
that you
my
got
God,
a watch
yes.
band. I wanted to
The
do that so
Nano,
much.
You could put they had third party bands you could put it in.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stay charged very long, but
No.
Well, I had a good friend of mine still uses his. He's a marathon runner.
nice.
So if he's doing either a 13 or a 26, he's got like 2 or 3 playlists that he just turns it on and then just starts running.
Nice. Anybody else stories with iPod?
There were other music players,
Yeah.
There was.
and we look back now and say, boy, it didn't do this and it didn't do that. But you compare them with what the other music players were at that time, and it was so much easier
Oh my God,
compared to those to get things on, and the selection process for the music.
Yeah.
And yes, we used them because they were still better than carrying around like I guess the Sony Walkman, with the cassettes or the discs.
I still have one.
But so you look at it today, and as cool as the iPod looks and was, it still feels a little primitive compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yep. I agree. So,
and iTunes was much easier to move and rearrange songs and rearrange songs on the devices. Now, it's changed.
I
Hopefully
will
it'll
say
get
that
better again.
Steve Jobs came out and said, we're going to make iTunes for Windows, which was going to open up the iPods for everybody. And it's going to be the best app Windows ever had. And it was, and always was, horrible. It was a horrible
the
app.
worst.
It didn't work properly. And so if you were in the Windows world, the Zune was the thing to have. And that was great and easy to manage because it worked with Windows.
Oh my God. That disaster that Microsoft had.
Yeah, and the multiple colors you could get with it, as long as you wanted brown.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have a Zune, but I had a non-Apple music player that worked pretty well.
Blaster.
For me.
That was one of them that made it, and a couple others.
Forget what the brand
Real
was,
Tech or something like that had one.
Yeah.
So
did any of you have one of the Apple CD players? They came out with a CD player with a SCSI port on it and a battery pack. But the way they designed it, the battery pack was attached to the SCSI port, so you couldn't use it as a portable device because you had to carry this giant brick with you.
Yeah.
Like it was a big triangle thing that didn't fit anything. And if you pulled the CD part out, which is what the Sony players all look like, it had no power because the battery was in the other part.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, no. I did
Not everything Apple designed was great.
It looked good.
Yeah, well.
Functionally, it had some issues.
It was short-lived, I'm sure. So, from the iPod, where did we go? Well, the banner year was 2007, and we got there was a lot of rumors that Apple was coming out with another iPod communications device, and once Steve Jobs got on stage for the first time, it's a phone, it's a communicator, it's a music player, it's an internet device, and he kept repeating it. You got that in your head at the Apple event in that
I was
day.
there.
Yeah,
you were there. That's right. You were there for
yeah. Tim was there. I was there, and so was my brother Larry.
Nice. So you got to see it firsthand. So you got experience. And plus, we know the famous picture of Jeff Gamet looking at the iPhone, first generation iPhone that was used all over the press. Him looking at it really intently there as it was inside that big glass cover. No one could touch it. And I don't think I have to say much. This is what the whole premise of this show is, In Touch with iOS, because the iPhone has been the most revolutionary product in, I'd say, ever, in my opinion. They just announced not too far long ago, they've now shipped the 3 billionth iPhone. That's a B, billion. So 3 billion iPhones were out there in one way or another. I'm sure some are gone, but that's a pretty amazing product. We could go on and on about it. iOS evolved. We talk about iOS 1, iOS 2. Oh boy. I didn't have an iPhone until the 3G, and I've had every iPhone ever since.
Yeah.
I did not get the first gen. Who else? Did anybody get the first gen iPhone?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You did. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And
it was a little sluggish on the apps, but
it was
a nice phone.
In the old, you could not copy and paste. You could not move things around. The apps were limited. And all that evolution that happened after that first gen iPhone, going from the 3G, 3GS, all the way up to now we're at the iPhone.
My first was the
17.
3GS.
I did 3G, went 3GS, then 4S. I got every single iPhone. I didn't get the 5C, got the 5S, 6S. Just kept going, didn't stop. And then we had the iPhone trade-in program that happened. That's been around. Gosh, it's got to be at least almost close to 15 years now. And I've been on it every year since its inception. So I've had every iPhone pretty much, and I think most of us here have as well. So, but it's an amazing phone. I will not go use any other phone as my primary device ever. I think you guys can agree with that statement. Any memories, anything about the iPhone that stood out for you guys?
Go
Go ahead, Chuck.
ahead, Marty. Sorry.
I was going to say my first iPhone, I think, was the 3G because I didn't get the initial one and I pined for it. And it was given to me as a Father's Day gift.
Nice.
And that was kind of nice. Memories about the iPhone, standing in line overnight
I've done that a
for
number of times.
release
I think
day.
all of us have. Yeah. Those are
Yeah,
fast
I
fun.
just, you know, when I did it the first time, it was like people were just so positive, hyped up. We were talking to people behind us and in front of us. Yeah, it was kind of a remarkable. Then I felt like I was in a community.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Or
for
a cult.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cult.
But,
Go ahead, Chuck.
think about the first iPhone. And at the time, I was using Palm devices,
Yeah.
the trios and everything with all the little keyboards. And of course, the BlackBerry was, a big thing. And here is suddenly this touch device that connects to your Mac and lets you move things, especially contacts, back and forth. Trying to manage contacts in some of those other devices was a challenge at best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was in the room when Steve introduced it. I was in that keynote, and there was just no question. I mean, it's like, here's my credit card. I want it right now. I don't even need to know the price. Just here's my credit card.
Take my money.
Yeah, and it was just such a remarkable thing, and the go back and look up Microsoft's reaction to it and the cost of it. Well, nobody's going to spend that kind of money. It's like, well, guess what?
Yeah.
Yep. Anybody
I
else?
had an HTC Desire in 2009, I think it was, or 2010. And it was one of the first smartphones. And I was great. I could reboot my servers standing at the back of County Stadium in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then I moved to the 4S, and that was my first phone. So
Yeah.
that was the second Apple product.
Yeah.
Well, third Apple product I bought.
That was a nice phone. I like that phone a lot.
Yeah. So
Kept it till 8. Yeah.
nice.
I think Marty was saying something. I think he was muted though.
Okay. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I was just saying, I wonder how those Microsoft phones are doing these days.
Yeah.
What was the one that was
Steve
out for
Ballmer.
like weeks?
What do we need these phones for?
Oh, gosh. What was that? That was out for weeks. Yeah.
It was like the bin or the something like that.
Oh, the Microsoft phones?
Just where they belonged was the bin.
I do contracting with trying to get some equipment for international grants that we have where students come in. And the best phone that we could find for the best price at the time was a Microsoft phone. And actually kind of enjoyed it.
I had one briefly. I played with it. I was like, what is this thing?
I loved my Microsoft phone.
Oh my God. I never heard that. Microsoft and love. I don't see those two words to go together.
It had profiles on it. So I could say when I'm on this cell tower, I'm at work. And when I'm on this cell tower, I'm at home. And when I'm not on either of these two, I'm somewhere else. And I would switch profiles around. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap this up. But we evolved from there. The iPad was a huge hit when that was a year before Steve Jobs sadly passed away, and he introduced it the first time, the iPad, and then you had the Apple Watch in 2015, which is a very revolutionary product. Yeah, the Mac transitioned into the silicon processors, which was huge. So we got some amazing history, and got a lot more to come. There's just so much more to say when it comes to that. So a couple other things I'll mention real quick here is Apple did have a fun animated homepage that was up yesterday. It's down now. That was really cool with the 50th birthday logo. And then Apple did have different events across the world that they were celebrating. And then on the actual day, April 1st, yesterday, Apple brought in Paul McCartney to have a concert at Apple Park in Cupertino with just employees and probably invited guests. I wouldn't be surprised if content creators and others were there. It was a pretty amazing concert from what everybody says. Tim Cook was on stage and he called the crowd and said, calling him a songwriter, a pioneer, and one of the most influential artists of all time, and added, he has been a lifelong fan of his music, and so have billions of people all over the planet. and it took place under Apple Park's Rainbow Arches, which had to be so cool. I would probably have goosebumps in that. And he went through a lot of his fun songs, and there's some short clips, but I don't know if they'll ever show it online. Sadly, I would tend to probably think it won't be, but it'd be kind of cool.
It would.
Go ahead.
That would be something that would be great to have immersive.
Immersive, yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So Tim Cook made a comment during an interview saying that his it was with Wall Street Journal's Ben Cohen, and he got to meet up with Cook, and they were going through a lot of our archival materials. If you didn't catch the video, it's only about 7 or 8 minutes. It was a really good interview. He said his most favorite moment was the introduction of the iPhone in 2007. That was one of his very favorite thing. So of course, Ben Cohen from the Wall Street Journal had to ask about future products. I mean, I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
It's a really good interview.
Why
You
did they
should
do
check it
that?
out. Yeah. So Cook did send out his heartfelt letter to all the employees, which was kind of cool, and told them about Paul McCartney. And you got just some amazing things that happened over these last few weeks and wrapping up yesterday. So it's been a wild ride. It really has. I tell you, we went for a rough start. We had some rough times, but we're all here as Apple enthusiasts. I think we enjoy their products. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't. And I think it's something to treasure and cherish and continue on with everything that we enjoy with their products every day. We're all immersed in the Apple products, and I don't think that'll ever change, right?
No, not at this point. No.
Nope. All right. So let's move on. I got a couple quick tips here I wanted to talk about here real quick. Stop your iPhone from suppressing background audio and videos. I wasn't quite aware of this. This was in Mac Rumors. iOS has an audio zoom feature which automatically focuses your iPhone's microphones on whatever you've zoomed in on while you're recording video. It's great for isolating a subject in a noisy environment like a concert. But it also can strip away the ambient sound that can also give your footage a broader context. Fortunately, iOS 26.4 added this dedicated toggle in the audio zoom so you can decide for yourself what's truly required. And if anybody doesn't know what audio zoom is, it's most useful when you're recording at a concert, like I said. So, and here's where it goes when you do the settings here. You open in settings, you go into camera, you go to tap record sound. Audio zoom is on or off. Turn that on. And then it works when spatial audio or stereo is selected with your recording format. Mono, then it'll be grayed out. So, did you guys know about this? I completely forgot about this.
That's really
Did not.
Yeah, Chuck, have you used this at all? You go to a lot of concerts.
I've never used it for a concert. I've played with it at CES and NAB.
Mm-hmm.
And also my reaction to it is that it's sort of similar to to one of the features in Final Cut that will take away the background noise and really leave you focused, or excuse me, it doesn't take it away completely, but it cuts it way back so that you actually can hear the individual that you really are trying to talk to. So I'm guessing that some of the same technology was used and is just hardwired into the iPhone, but it is surprisingly effective. Depending on which one you want. Do you want to feel like you're in amongst a lot of people, or if I'm looking at Marty and talking to him and we have a lot of craziness going on between us, do you really want to hear him or do you want to hear the craziness?
So we want to hear
Craziness always wins.
Always wins.
Yeah, well.
So I thought it was a good tip, and check that out. We have a link in the show notes so you can go back and review that. One other topic I wanted to hit real quick was the fact that Apple did release a firmware upgrade for the AirTag, the AirTags 2. It's this it's a 3.0.45 version from .41. First firmware that the update has been posted since the AirTag 2 came out in 2026 in January. It updates the unwanted tracking sound to make it easier to locate an unknown AirTag during precision finding. The software also contains bug fixes and other improvements. In the past, AirTag firmware was distributed on a rolling basis over 2 weeks, but it appears the latest firmware is available to the users immediately. You can check the firmware by opening up your Find My app and go into the Items tab and tapping that AirTag on the list and checking to see its firmware version. There's no way to force it, just like AirPods and everything else, many of those kind of products. So it's there. Who's been using AirTags 2 now? I have them. I haven't even opened the box yet. I got to do it. Start updating them.
I have to. Yeah, until Marty.
Yeah, so it's good to be aware here. And let's hit some of the news this week as we move on to the news stories here. Apple Sports, it continues to evolve here, and it's now updated the app to add more 2026 FIFA World Cup content. Soccer fans will be able to view the complete tournament groupings and follow their favorite national teams in the format. Following teams allows Apple Sports users to get real-time scores on updates and stats, plus there is a support for live activities for tracking games. Apple says this is easier than ever for fans to stay up to date in the tournament action. So they continue to evolve the Apple Sports app. It's getting better and better. I'm getting really impressed. And we talked about Formula One. We got PGA Golf. Now Chuck's happy with that. You got the Masters coming up pretty soon here, right? So you can use that to follow it really closely. So I'll start with you, Chuck. What do you think about this as this app evolves?
I think it's fascinating. I wish Brian Flanagan Arthurs were here because he's more the sports guy. But I think it's really interesting that Apple all of a sudden is paying attention to this, and it makes me wonder about in relation to their push into sports for Apple TV. Everything seems to suddenly go hand in hand. So I don't know who decided to make sports a bit more of a priority, but they're doing a really nice job of it. I think as it goes. And look, if you're into a particular sport, there are always going to be apps that can take you deeper into the sport with a lot more information, whether it's golf, basketball, football, whatever. But what I really like about this is it kind of just hits the highlights. And it's showing me, in the case of the PGA Tour, I know who's leading at any given moment because it's up in my little notch.
Yeah.
So just those little Apple touches really are showing, I think, in this app.
It really is.
And I want to see it. I want to see it continue.
Me too. Marty, we're both big baseball fans, Cubs fans specifically.
Yeah.
And, I like it. I'm trying to use that app more and more to look at scores and follow what's going on. What do you think?
Yeah, here's the thing. I have it as part of notifications or have it in my island. And this is what I had to do. I had to do some team pruning because it was like, I want to know what that team's doing. I want to know what that team's doing. I want to know that. And I was just getting flooded, when all the baseball teams are playing at the same time, I'm getting flooded with announcements and news. So I had to go through and prune some of those out. So it was only focused on fewer teams. This thing with FIFA, I think, is great. The problem is right now, the politics around teams coming to the U.S. for this is horrible.
Yeah.
And so you might be able to follow your favorite team, not favorite teams, because I'm just not sure how that's going to shake out.
Yeah. Anybody else? Eric, Guy, you're a sports fan, Guy. You wish the UFL was in there. I know that.
I do. Which just started last week, and my beloved DC Defenders lost. I'm stunned. The fact that Apple is spending a lot more time with sports and getting more sports programming, not just through the sports app, but through the Apple TV, tells me that they're, as far as services go, I think they're in kind of a transition period right now, that they're trying to get content in and through the Apple TV, and they don't really care if it comes from them or it comes from somewhere else, as long as you're using either their app or their hardware. And when you look at things like ads in Maps and, ads in various other places now, it's not that I think that they need the money. I think it's more along the lines of, we're moving into a space that we don't have a lot of experience with. So we're going to not only are we going to make mistakes, but we're going to see what works and what doesn't work. And when it comes to Apple TV, I think we're going to be looking at a lot more exclusivity as far as content that's going to be available through Apple TV. Now, they can't make the kinds of moves that like Disney did, where they bought Hulu and 20th Century Fox and all the rest of that. But there's still a lot of content out there. And when you look at some of the other streaming platforms like Netflix, which just seems to stumble over and over and over again, and now they're raising their prices well past $25, that's going to be the first service that I let go. And it's depressing because there's some good stuff on there, but I can't afford it.
Yeah, I hear you.
And Apple gives you all of that for like about $35 a month.
Yeah, that is true. Jill or Eric, have anything to add?
I enjoy it just for casually keeping track of sports, because if I'm not really focused on something, I'll just miss the game. So I kind of like when I can watching either DC or Toronto soccer games, but I don't pay enough attention to know when they're playing. And it pops up on the screen and it lets me know when the game's starting, and it lets me know what the score is and where things are, and you can jump in and get a recap. So if you want to just casually participate, it is really useful for that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Jill, anything for you?
Well, yeah, as you probably all know, I'm the worst in the whole sports league. I'm glad. Like I said, I think it's horrible to be a sports fan right now. It's really hard to watch your content. But I have to say that every once in a while, I don't know, there's something about listening to a baseball game and just having it in the background. It just sounds like summer. And so sometimes I'm sitting here editing a podcast and just letting it play, and I don't know, something about it.
Okay. No,
I'm waiting for Apple to get the World Curling League.
or Tiddlywinks.
I'd watch curling.
Yeah. Like
Tiddlywinks, right?
Yeah.
All right, a couple more stories here. There's been more products added to the vintage or obsolete list. This week, Apple added the iPad Air, the Air 3 models already on the list. This is the third generation. The cellular iPad Airs was already on the list, but now all of them are on there at this point. It was released in 2019. It's been 5 years after the prior generation, Air 2, and it was the new iPad in the Apple's tablet lineup, including the same design as the 2017. And that was the support for the first generation Apple Pencil with that wonderful having to charge it with your Lightning connector. And then of course, then the AirPod Air 3 was discontinued in 2020 September, and then launched with the Air 4. Then it was having problems, so it just got changed there as well. Apple also added this week as vintage the 13-inch 2017 MacBook Air to its vintage list, and moved the iPad Mini 4, 32, and the 32 gig Apple TV HD to its obsolete prog list, because they're leaving the bigger storage HD, because that HD, if you can find one cheap, it's still pretty good Apple TV. If you have a 4K TV, yeah, it makes the difference. But but I'm just hoping they come out with a new Apple TV. It hasn't been released in 4 years now. Got to do something here. Any comments about all those products? We probably all own those in one way or another at some point.
I still have the iPad Mini.
The 4? Okay.
Do you think that eventually it could go away and they just make people use the app instead? Because that's easy to update.
Yeah. I don't know, because I'm all in. I think being an Apple person like the rest of us, I'm all in on the Apple TV. I can't stand using Roku or the Google TV. I think the Apple TV's interface, I'm used to it. I like it. It works for me. I just put it on my big 55-inch TV here, and it's working very well. So yeah, not me, but there's still lots of people use Roku. That's for sure, because it's so much cheaper. That's what people want. Yeah. So
And they're selling the data, and so you feel secure with it. And,
right.
And I think Apple has that place of security for it. So, and plus you get it's all better. The sound is better. The visuals are better. And
oh yeah.
So,
AirPods Max 2 are now available at the Apple Store. I don't think anybody's breaking down the doors and buying them like the MacBook Neo, but and they're showing same day pickup and availability at all the stores across the US and abroad. It's equipped with the H2 chip that debuted in the AirPods Pro 2. Compared to the previous generation, the newer AirPods Max feature up to a 1.5x more active noise cancellation, enhanced sound quality, and features as adaptive audio, conversation awareness, and voice isolating, and live translation. So it's got the camera remote feature, which is kind of bizarre. You have your AirPods Max on your ears, and you're going to the crown to take your picture. Kind of weird. Comes in 4 colors: midnight, starlight, orange, purple, and blue. Now it's up to $549. And they've already you already
Wasn't that what it was when it first came out?
It was $449 or $499, I think, when it first came out.
My friend got it for $399, I think.
Yeah, the old ones are they're going off pretty cheap there. So what's been the review of it? It's got better sound and better and ANC, but still the design frustrations. You still got the bra, the case that you have to put on that thing. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who love this headset. I've got one for my wife. She's enjoying it, and it's the Lightning version. I see no need to mess with that. I mean, just it's frustrating that everything else is USB-C in the house now, but it's fine. So really up to you guys and out there who want to use it. So anybody have any comments about the AirPods Max?
Yeah, I when a new product comes out, I break out in hives. And so I went in and I looked at it, and here's fun fact that you don't know. There is no upgrade for this. Right. Like if they would have given me a couple hundred for my previous set, I might have considered upgrading, but this is just a dead full buy. Mm-hmm. So they're not accepting any other Apple products in terms of the upgrade for this, including previous versions of the AirPod Max. So. Yeah,
they've been like that with accessories, so it's not surprising. Just like you wanted to trade in, I think was it the 16E, and you couldn't do it right away. Yeah, at least eventually you could. But yeah, the AirPods Max have never been that. You got to go on third-party markets like selling it on eBay or putting it on Facebook Marketplace. And there's a market for it there, sadly. But yeah, it is what it is. Anybody else?
Yeah, it's the hives disappeared.
Okay, good.
Little cream.
I know it was. I know it was hard to resist. And finally, let's wrap up the news part of the show here about the Google Gmail. You can now finally change your Gmail address. I don't know why you'd want to, but we've all probably had the same Gmail address for like ever. But they did announce you could finally change the Google account email address that you use for Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Photos, Drive, and more. The ability was only rolled out to U.S. accounts for now, but the company did not indicate when they'll be available in other countries. You can switch any available gmail.com address, and your previous address will become an alias. So maybe you could change it, and then you still get the emails if someone sends it. I might think about this. They probably don't have my name anymore. I'm sure someone took it, with the billions of Gmail accounts out there. But it ensures that you retain is ensuring that you retain ownership of your original email address, but you can still sign in and send and receive emails at both addresses. You can do it once per year and 3 times total. Google says all emails and other account data and history will be preserved. If you change your mind, you can revert back to the old email address. So you can try it. Okay. So it says that this is new availability is especially useful for longtime Gmail users who may have chosen a casual email address when they were younger. For example, maybe a 13-year-old signed up for Skeeter Bowl 2006 at gmail.com. And you're an adult, you'd rather have a more professional, like a John Smith at gmail.com email. So there are some kind of wacky Gmail accounts out there. So there's a support document link in this article in the show notes. So thought that was just a good PSA. I don't think anybody here is probably. I might explore it, see what it is. Yeah, but
I'm going to change mine to Eric Bolden.
there you go.
Go for it. I fully support that.
My son has one. It's Guy Rules with a Z at the end and then a number. I don't want to say what it is, but yeah, it's like when I saw that, it was like, okay, well, that's great when you're 15.
Yeah.
I have reviewed many a resume that came from My Little Pony Gmail account, and I'm like, oh, dude, time to get yourself an adult email.
It's like, look, you're 55 years old, okay? So just let it go.
It's too late now. Got to keep it.
It is too late now. So before we go, I want to make sure we mention MacStock. There was a big announcement that just happened. It was yesterday as we record this, and I want to bring up the website here. And MacStock Conference and Expo. It's July 10th, 11th, and 12th. And sure enough, Mike had David Pogue on the show on his live stream. And I'm excited to announce that David is coming to MacStock. He's going to be here, and they're going to be. Mike has arranged to order some books. I think he said something like 25 cases of books are going to be there. And everybody that comes can buy a book and have David personally sign it, and he's going to meet each one of you. And you can bring your book that you already have, which I'm going to do. So that's really cool. And there's going to be an evening with David Pogue on Friday night during the session here. So that's going to be a fun really night, because he did a fun video during the Computer History Museum presentation. He did that, and he does a lot of great parodies because he's also a orchestrate. I think he's a musician too. So he's got lots of multiple talents. If you don't know who David Pogue is, he wrote the book Apple at 50. And it's a great book, and a lot of great fun stories to read. Just some of the things we talked about today. So that's another bonus part of MacStock. Marty's going to be talking as well and doing a Saturday night kind of tech support fun workshop for 90 minutes. It's going to be a lot of fun. We all here are speaking. Well, Guy, you're not, but you're going to be with us. That's great. I'm so glad
I'll
that
be
you
there.
are.
Yes.
I
missed last.
Yes, you did. So we're all really excited about MacStock, and then the other bonus, there's a piece of this thing too. That's Ecamm, and Ecamm just recently rebranded. They used to be called the product called Ecamm Live, and everybody just called it Ecamm. So they decided, you know what, let's just call ourselves Ecamm. They have a new logo and all new branding, so it's kind of cool. And they got some new features in Ecamm. So I have not had a chance to play with yet. I know Marty has. We're gonna be playing here and finding out what I can do with it. That's the multi-mode where you can have it'll record the videos right directly for the shorts that are so very, very popular on platforms including YouTube. So, but that's going on. That's going to be on July 9th. That's a separate part of the package there. So you're going to be able to sign up for that, and as well as the 3 days of MacStock. So we're going to have some crazy fun times. This is one of the most exciting times I think that we got upcoming with MacStock. So again, it's July 10th, 11th, and 12th for the MacStock conference. If you want to do the Ecamm Creator Camp that they're doing, that's on July 9th. And it's definitely going to be something super fun to do. So we would love to see you all there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I know, like I said, everybody here, well, Guy, you're going to be cheering us on when we're presenting. So,
yeah. And I'll be at the Ecamm thing too.
Oh, you have to be. Yes. Because you're learning it too.
I'm going to need you on the Saturday night. I'm going to need all of you on the Saturday night.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're going to participate. So we all have that. So, but there's going to be 2 passes available, so you can go with the Ecamm or without. And Mike was gracious enough to extend the early bird pricing. So if you still want, if you hear this before April 8th and want to still get that early bird pricing because it was due to expire on March 31st, you should take advantage of it because it's a really good deal, and take a look at that. So go to macstockconference.com. Come see us. We're going to have a blast. I can't wait. I'm so now adding David Pogue to this as well is going to be exciting as well. So, let's definitely hear it here. So, and before I wrap up, I'm going to give a programming note. We are going to have 2 episodes next week. I am interviewing David Pogue. He agreed to come on our show, which is exciting. And then our normal Thursday show will be on as well. Some of you may not know that yet, so now you do. But with that, let's go ahead and wrap up. But before we do that, let's find out where we can find everybody. So let's start our reverse the order here. Let's start with Guy Serle. Thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
Thank you, Dave. Well, you can find me on Thursday nights, of course, here with In Touch with iOS. Some Tuesdays when I manage to remember that it's Tuesday, over there with Chuck Joyner on Mac Voices, which is always such a great blast. I do the G-Men Show with Gaz, which is a rebranding of the My Mac podcast from years and years ago. And if you want to get a hold of us after listening to the show to insult us, berate us, however you want to do it, that would be gmenshow at icloud.com. I can be found over on Twatex and Skies of Blue as either Mac Parrot or Vert Shark. And we have a Google Voice number, 703-828-4677. That's all, Dave. Well, let's go on.
Thank you, Guy. And
you're welcome.
Chuck Joyner, thanks. Jeez. Chuck Joyner, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. You got a lot of exciting things going on with Mac Voices. I watched the event for the report, the March report, and you got some amazing cool things to tell us about, and I think that was fun. You got some great things coming up. So where can people find you?
MacVoices.com is where you'll find all of it, and I'm not going to try to go through it all day.
No, not all of it. No. I just wanted to mention
go over and check.
Go watch it.
Yeah, but also I do want to say that the road to Macstock is now officially kicked off. We had Mike Potter, I guess, break the champagne bottle on the bow of the ship, and we're off and running. So you'll start hearing from the presenters that will be at Macstock, maybe some guests that will be at Macstock, and who knows who else. Yeah. The live show, as has been mentioned, is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV, and you'll find me on all the socials as at Chuck Joyner. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Chuck. And Eric Bolden, so glad to have you as always. Where can people find you with your Pelican behind you?
Yeah, trying not to get too cold in the water. Let's see. I can be found Sunday nights on the Neo Notebook, discussing the Neo, and there's a lot to talk about. Monday nights on Vision Profiles, discussing the Vision Pro. Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live, with Mac news and everything interesting that's going on near the beginning of the week, and then later on Thursdays, In Touch with iOS, covering iOS, iPadOS, and Mac, and the news that has happened since the beginning part of the week.
Yes, thank you so much. And Marty Jencius, so it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Where can people find you?
You can find me at all the places Eric told you, but at twice the speed. And really, if you want to find out the projects that I'm doing, go to the podtalk.net. That's the website. It'll give you links to the shows that we've talked about, shows that maybe you haven't heard of yet. And I just updated that site, so I'm trying to get things so that can be the one place folks can go. You can also catch me at Jencius, Jencius, on the socials.
All right, great. And last but certainly not least, Jill McKinley. So I'm glad you were here. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at jillfromthenorthwoods.com. It has all my podcasts and YouTube channels, and my brand new one, which is Small Steps with AI. And that's the new podcast and YouTube channel. I was trying to find the right place in tech to get involved in tech, like as a tech podcast, because all of you and all the people at Macstock all have tech podcasts. And so I'm like, what can I do that's a little bit different? So this is what I did.
All right. Thank you so much. So with that, that is a wrap for this week. Thanks for being here. Please send your comments and questions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon at In Touch with iOS. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe when you're notified when we're live streaming, which is on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thank you, Witherbucket. We saw Webb, we saw Cletus, and we saw a number of others in the chat. Really happy you were here. Thanks for being here. You can watch the live stream live with us, or you can also watch the recorded live stream, and you can also listen to past shows. You also can listen to us on your favorite podcatcher, which is also which includes podcasts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, many others. But better yet, just go to our website, and that's at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to the ways to listen to us are out there on that site. And I am David Ginsburg. You can find me in the following places. Yes, we're at the five pack of podcasts now, where we got the Neo Notebook on Sunday nights talking about the MacBook Neo. On Monday nights, we got the Vision Profiles podcast about the Vision Pro. And on Tuesday nights, Chuck Joiners, Mac Voices Live. We have an absolute blast. We missed you this week, Chuck. I'm so glad we're back next week. We kind of I know all of us went through withdrawal. And Thursday nights, In Touch with iOS. Here we record live. And on Fridays, I'm on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network as well. So with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed doing it. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you, guys. Way to go. And I'm going to say goodbye to the live stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, live stream. DJ voice.